Good afternoon, everybody. It is a really good day here in Montgomery County, where we are leading with our hearts and leading by compassion. And I have a question for everybody today. Are we a community that values our neighbors regardless of where they were born, who they love, or where they pray?
Yes, we are.
Are we a community that leads with compassion and safety and justice for all?
Yes, we are.
And are we a community that embraces diversity as our strength?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. We are all those things here in Montgomery County, home to 1.1 million people, where we do not build walls around our county, but we welcome everybody, regardless of the color of their skin, where they were born, who they love, or how they identify. Those are the Montgomery County values, and those are the reasons we lead with our heart and with policy. But today, we know that many of our neighbors are living in fear. Fear that has only been exacerbated by the outcome of the national election. Neighbors who are immigrants are worried for their own livelihood. They're worried about their coworkers, about their family members. People are scared of what might come. And it is incumbent upon local governments like ours here to protect everybody. And that is what we are doing right now. We want people to cooperate with police. We want people to seek help in times of need. And we want people to know that we will not let their families be torn apart. This means that many immigrants are suffering in silence, unwilling to come forward, hiding in the shadows for the fear of what might be. But we know that with the issue of immigration, we know that public safety is important and human rights are important, which is why today I am proud that we introduced the Uplifting Victims and Immigrant Safety Act, otherwise known as the U-Visa Act. I'm proud to have introduced that legislation today with my colleagues, Councilmember Natali Fani-González and Don Luedtke, each of whom are leaders on immigrant rights and victims of domestic abuse. We also have a number of other colleagues who have co-sponsored this legislation, and I want to extend my appreciation to them. Councilmembers Gabe Albornoz, Marilyn Balcom, Andrew Friedson, Kate Stewart, and Sydney Katz. This bill is a direct response to the climate of fear and uncertainty that has grown across our community and across the country. We want all residents of Montgomery County to know that we are a place of refuge, especially if you are the victim of a crime. The U-Visa program is only available to individuals who have suffered substantial mental and physical abuse for certain qualifying crimes. Some of the worst crimes imaginable, including abduction, sexual assault, domestic violence, trafficking, and torture, just to name a few. Under federal law, victims of these crimes may be eligible for a U-Visa, but here in Montgomery County, there is currently a 10-year statute of limitation for the process. It is an arbitrary deadline that penalizes victims in our community who may still be working with law enforcement years later. Current law also silences those who've already been through so much, have endured so much, but are still seeking truth and justice. And so this bill removes the barrier on the 10-year cap of certification so that we conform to federal law that any victim of a violent crime who is assisting law enforcement, no matter when that crime occurred, can access the help and justice they deserve. We are doing this because we are a community of justice. We are a community that values safety, and we are a community that recognizes the dignity and worth of all our residents. And so I just want to thank all of the community organizations that are here today and those that are supporting this initiative, including CASA, Community Bridges, Domestic Violence Coordination Council, Jewish Coalition Against Domestic Abuse, Jews United for Justice, Just Neighbors, Liberty's Promise, Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault, Maryland Department of Juvenile Services, Mujeres Legal Services, Moms Rising, the Montgomery County Police Department, the Montgomery County National Organization for Women, the Montgomery County's Sheriff Office, the Montgomery County Trauma Services, and the Victims Services Advisory Board. Together, we can make Montgomery County a safer place for everyone while welcoming everyone. That is what this legislation intends to do, to let us be a county where we lead with compassion, we lead with our heart, and we lead with the law. And now I would like to introduce one of my co-sponsors, co-leads on this, Councilmember Natali Fani-González.
We are walking the talk in Montgomery County. We are a county in the state of Maryland that embraces our diversity and really looks after every single vulnerable community in our neighborhoods. This is walking the talk. This is making sure that those who are the most vulnerable, those who are facing abuse, those who have been victims of crimes, get the help they need while they stay in the country. As an immigrant, I'm proud to live in Montgomery County because of these type of things. We're taking every single step needed to ensure that whatever happens at the federal level, we're gonna be continuing to protect our community. And for that, ensuring that it's not just the elected officials, but also the nonprofit sector, the legal sector, and also our police department. We're here to help you. No matter where you were born, what language you speak, everybody has a human right, right? So we're here to protect that. With that, thank you so much for being here, and I'm gonna pass the mic to my colleague, Councilmember Luedtke.
Thank you so much, thank you. It is one thing to talk about our values, it's another to demonstrate them. This is us demonstrating them. And I want to be clear, because while we are taking action today to remove something, an impediment that didn't need to be there, that created a timeline that just doesn't need to exist because it does not exist under federal law, and the U visa program has existed in the United States since 2002, I want to commend our public safety partners and professionals for everything they've done to try to do outreach to the community, to make sure they know that this program is available, to make sure they know that they are there and want to be called and want to help. We do not want to create barriers that increase victimization. That is the goal. We want to make sure we are helping all of our neighbors, regardless of where they came from, to be safe and secure in their neighborhoods, in their homes. They are valued members of our community, and when they need help, we want them to be able to pick up the phone. We want them to be able to avail themselves of those services. Our public safety partners, including our trauma services, our crisis center, we have translation services available to help. So if you need it, ask for it. We will be there. They will be there. They are here for you, especially now when I know there is a lot of confusion and a lot of misinformation out there. I want you to see everyone standing behind me, public safety professionals, community advocates, friends, neighbors, elected officials, and hear and take to heart what we are saying, which is that we are here for you. We want to help you. If you have been the victim of a past crime, come forward. Please, please avail yourself of their assistance. Let them help you. We can't afford to have people disappear into the shadows. and live in perpetual fear. That is not who we are as a county, and that is not what we stand for. So I am very grateful to my co-lead sponsors, Councilmember Glass and Councilmember Fani-González. We want to make sure we are doing our part to educate the community about this process and make sure that people know how to take advantage of it moving forward. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to bring up the Chief of the Montgomery County Police Department, Chief Marc Yamada.
Thanks. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marc Yamada. I am your chief, the Chief of the Montgomery County Police Department. And I stand here united with my colleagues to deliver a clear message to our community and a promise. We need you to continue. We need every member of our community to continue to come to us to report being the victim of a crime, and then to follow through and help us in every way they can with the prosecution of those crimes. Our goals are pretty simple: to detect, deter, ultimately solve crimes, but then to prevent future victimization. You know, we need your help in order to accomplish these goals. That's just critical. You know, when people stand up here and make promises, it comes with oftentimes the question, that sounds good, but I need something in writing. Well, you're going to get that today with the passing of this bill. You know, our promise is to, when you do come to us for help, we're going to treat you fairly, equitably, and we don't care, as Councilmember Glass said, where you come from, where you were born, what language you speak. We just want you to come forward, and our promise is just that, to make you feel comfortable and offer you these services to the full extent that we can in moving your U visa request forward. I'm going to turn the mic over now to Captain Jeff Bunge from our Special Victims Investigation Division, who does most of the work, to cover what we have done in the past and what we will continue to do in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Again, I'm Jeff Bunge. I am the captain of our Special Victims Investigations Division for the Montgomery County Police. It's our division that's responsible for receiving and processing the U visa applications once they are sent to the police department. I can report that in 2023 we had 145 applications that came through our office, and year to date in 2024 we've had 121. We process those applications as quickly as we can. With the removal of this 10-year statute of limitations, we look forward to working and continuing to work with the community. Our office routinely works. The police department has a Hispanic liaison, Mariela Leon. We work closely with her, who also works closely with the community. I would strongly encourage community members, if they're not willing to right away speak to a police officer, to at least reach out to her, and she can begin the process of getting folks to our help, and we can help provide that U visa or forward that U visa application to the federal government. So we look forward to continuing to work with the community on this. Thank you.
Thank you to our police department for their work and dedication to ensuring the safety of every resident of Montgomery County. Next, I would like to introduce an immigrant community leader and Montgomery County resident, Amos Fon.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, it's already afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Amos Fon, and I'm a proud immigrant from Cameroon. And I want to say some little thing about Cameroon. It's one interesting country where you have the president has been in power for 42 years. And that is to say, he was president while I was in secondary school. I'm now almost 60 years old. I'm still there. I am here today to testify in strong support of the Uplifting Victims and Immigrant Safety Act. As an immigrant, I understand the fear that many in our community face, particularly those who have experienced violence or witnessed crimes, but are too afraid to come forward because of the threat of immigration enforcement. And there are a lot of them who have experienced this, but they are scared. In my home country, I was witness to terrible acts of genocide. And speaking out about those atrocities put my life in danger. As I speak, my country has been in violent conflict for slightly over 8 years. And it's just deteriorating. The situation is not getting better. And it's a very difficult thing to talk about it because people are killed. Journalists are not permitted to say anything about it. I know firsthand the importance of protecting victims of violence and ensuring they are safely seek help without fear of deportation. And that is a threat to all of us now. The U visa allows victims of violence or violent crimes like anti-hate, sexual assault, human trafficking, and domestic violence to assist law enforcement in the investigation and prosecution of these crimes without risking their immigration status. The legislation is crucial for ensuring that all individuals in Montgomery County, regardless of their immigration status, feel safe and protected. Everyone deserves the right to live free from violence and fear, which is now part and parcel of our life, daily life today, and we don't know how the future is going to look like. The Uplifting Victims and Immigrant Safety Act is a vital step towards creating a community where all are valued and have access to justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amos, for sharing your story and the story of your country. Next, I'd like to invite up Alice Barrett, who is the Supervising Immigration Attorney with CASA.
Thank you. Good afternoon. CASA is in 4 states and has over 170,000 lifetime members. Thereof, the large majority are in Montgomery County, where we were born as an organization. Our focus is on defending and supporting working-class Black and brown immigrant communities through lifetime membership. We are currently witnessing an attack on our neighbors, friends, and families by the incoming administration. But we at CASA see this as a call to action. We're more determined than ever to stand up and fight for what is right. At every level, from local communities to state governments, we will work tirelessly to defend the rights and freedoms under threat. These are spaces where we can still make a powerful impact. We will organize, engage, and empower local officials to protect our communities from harmful and divisive policies. Together, we will ensure that our voices continue to shape the future. The Montgomery County Uplifting Victims and Immigrant Safety Act, the U Visa Act, is an important step in the right direction of protecting immigrant communities. By removing the arbitrary 10-year statute of limitations on U visa certifications, it ensures that immigrants who have been victimized and supported our local law enforcement in keeping our entire communities safe are able to continue to come forth and provide such support without fear of deportation as a result. Building this trust without an expiration date is instrumental at this time, when our communities are being instilled with fear and targeted with hateful rhetoric. CASA has a long-standing history of supporting U visas. CASA's legal department has assisted hundreds of community members individually in pursuit of a U visa. And that is only a small percentage of the amount of people who reach out to obtain information from us regarding U visas. Every month, we hold Know Your Rights sessions and clinics, providing free legal consultations to dozens of our members. And at virtually every one of these events, there are some members who have been victims of crime here in the United States. As an attorney, I've seen the violence and harm CASA members have suffered. I've represented young women who will remain anonymous by name, but who as mere girls were sexually assaulted or abused by people who they thought were here to protect them and provide them shelter. Had it not been for the U visa program along with foster care support they were able to receive here in Maryland, they would have been forced to continue living in the shadows at the behest of their abusers and others like them who prey on the most vulnerable. I therefore commend Montgomery County for considering this U visa bill and hope that it will become local law as soon as possible to keep our communities safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alice. Now, I'd like to invite up someone from the Family Justice Center who knows all too well what domestic violence looks like here in Montgomery County, and that is Smita Vari, a program manager with the Family Justice Center.
Hello, my name is Smita Vari, and I'm the program manager with the Montgomery County Family Justice Center through the Office of the Sheriff. The Montgomery County Family Justice Center serves residents who are victims of domestic violence. We offer free wraparound services, including safety planning, counseling, legal advice and representation, job support, medical services, and criminal services through our many wonderful partners that work under one roof. This year, we are on target to serve 2,000 victims of domestic violence. Domestic violence is about power and control. Offenders perpetrate physical, emotional, financial, and sexual abuse. They do whatever it is necessary to have power over the victim and to control what they can and cannot do. I wanted to talk specifically today about serving the immigrant community. Just like the diversity of Montgomery County, the people we serve at the Family Justice Center reflect that same diversity. And we know that immigrant victims face additional threats, intimidation, and manipulation from their abusers. Examples of this include threatening deportation if the victim wants to leave the relationship, failing to file papers to legalize immigration status, hiding or destroying the victim's important papers such as a passport or birth certificate or identification card, and also keeping the victim from learning to speak English. In order to help these victims and survivors, the U visa program is an essential part of their path to healing. Many times, they are scared to report the abuse because they think they will have to leave the United States. Along with the services I mentioned earlier, we also offer immigrant legal services. The Montgomery County Family Justice Center partners with Catholic Charities, who has volunteers at our office every week to meet with our clients to guide them on the U visa process. This legislation will show immigrants that Montgomery County supports their right to a safe life free from violence. No one deserves to be abused, and the Family Justice Center is here to support all victims, regardless of race, religion, culture, gender identity, sexual orientation, or immigration status. I wanted to thank Councilmembers Glass, Fani-González, and Luedtke for introducing this important legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Smita, for the work you do on behalf of 2,000 victims every single year, and also want to recognize and extend our appreciation to Sheriff Max Wee, who is joining us today as well. Next, I'd like to invite up Christina Torres, who is the local director of Mujeres Legal Services, who will be speaking in Spanish and will have translation.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina Torres. I'm a part of staff of Mujeres. Mil Mujeres is a non-profit organization that has been working for 17 years, and nuestra preocupación es que las personas sin estatus legal piensan que no tienen derechos.
Our concern is that undocumented residents, they believe that they don't have any rights because of their status.
Pero nosotros pensamos que es importante trabajar para ellos, especialmente para la comunidad hispana, porque necesitan ser protegidos.
And it is important for us to work especially for that Hispanic population so that they feel protected.
Ellos necesitan protección integral y de forma especializada.
They need integral protection.
Para Mil Mujeres es importante trabajar, y nosotros trabajamos para las personas, especialmente violencia doméstica, violencia sexual y tráfico humano.
For the nonprofit organization Mil Mujeres, it is important for us to work for the victims of sexual abuse, domestic violence, and trafficking.
Nosotros ofrecemos cursos de inglés, servicios de cómo obtener la ciudadanía, emprendimiento para mujeres y cursos de gobierno para aquellas personas que quieren poner su primer negocio.
The nonprofit organization Mil Mujeres, they provide English classes as well as civil education and prepares other residents that would like to start their own business to have their own business.
Mil Mujeres quiere ayudar a la comunidad, especialmente a la comunidad hispana, y estamos alrededor de los Estados Unidos en 9 oficinas diferentes, y para nosotros será un placer ayudar a nuestras personas que viven alrededor de los Estados Unidos.
The nonprofit organization Mil Mujeres has 9 offices throughout the country, and for us it will be a pleasure to work for our communities, especially for our Hispanic community.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Cristina. So with that, you have heard from all facets of our community why we strive to be a loving, welcoming, and inclusive place for everybody. And we want everybody to feel safe while they are here. And part of that is cooperating with law enforcement to not only heal themselves, but heal our community, to be partners in making this a safe and welcoming community. That is what this legislation strives to do. While we do not know what the next few months or years portend across Maryland or the country, we will continue being a welcoming and compassionate place here in Montgomery County, where we welcome everybody from around the world because we know our diversity is our strength. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you might have for colleagues or any other speakers. I appreciate that question. Earlier this year, I received this in the mail, and it was from an attorney explaining to us the hardship that their client was facing. Someone who had experienced sexual assault and needed help. And when we looked into the legal parameters, we realized there was a donut hole, there was a loophole. And we want to make sure that every single person receives the help they can. And it is our goal that with the passage of this legislation, this victim and future victims will get the help. Anyone else from the media? Yeah, Jenny? Okay.
Obviously, it takes some time for this legislation in place. You said you've been working on this. Was this accelerated because of the election, or was it just a coincidence with the timing?
This is an urgent need that we have been working on. We want to make sure that every resident and every victim of violent crime receives the help, legal support that they deserve. But yeah, let's not kid ourselves. The national election has changed everything. It's changed things here in Montgomery County, and it's changed things across the country. And we want to make sure that every single person is protected, that the law is on their side. And this is one of many efforts, I suspect, that will be coming forward in Montgomery County and across Maryland to make sure that everyone remains welcome to live here.
The 10-year cutoff, that's a county law, not a part of the federal law.
That is correct. That was established in 2016.
Okay, do you know why that was established?
I don't. Anyone else? You want to answer?
No, I don't
No.
know why.
We don't know.
Okay, it was called arbitrary. Would you say that it's just arbitrary then?
It is. It is an arbitrary statute. It's an arbitrary timeline, especially given that the federal government does not impose any timeline on it.
And you keep on saying federal government. Is that to reassure people that the federal immigration authorities did crack down, as we're hearing, that this will be protective due to the fact that it's part of federal law?
I think that's a fair statement. Immigration law is generally federal law. And there are partnerships and cooperations at the local government level, which is why you've heard from Montgomery County Police Department that they've had more than 200, was it 200? 122? 121. This year alone, there have been 121 requests for U visas through our police department. And so we want to make sure that everybody receives the help without any arbitrary timeline.
Are any of those people outside of the 10-year cutoff?
Expand a little more on it.
So for this calendar year, the U visas, there were, in doing some research, there were 9 that went beyond that 10-year timeline.
Thank you for your service.
Just as an individual, I'd like to thank some of my own county council members are right here in front of me, including Mr. Gonzalez. I want to say, if you are a person who is a victim of a crime or you're a witness to a crime, what you're doing today is certainly going to be helpful. And I think that's a real
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Marks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is there someone ready to talk to us about the process of what it takes to get that visa and the role that law enforcement plays in getting that application?
From intake through.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
So if you go to the Montgomery County Police website, there's it's a little tricky to get to. There's a section, How Do I? When you click on that, there's a spot for U visa. There's an email address, pol.uvisa@montgomerycountymd.gov, where any questions can be sent to our division, which we would respond and reply to. It also has on there the process, the address where you mail the application. And then anybody can go online and just Google the U visa process, and it'll take you step by step. But then some of the other folks behind me may have some additional information to assist in that process.
Sure. Subject to any additional thoughts from my fellow legal service providers, I can say that generally speaking, the forms that are utilized by us as attorneys are provided by USCIS. The initial form that must be completed and then is sent to law enforcement for review and certification is a certification form that essentially has to be signed off by someone from the law enforcement department. It can generally be a police department or an attorney general's department. That would depend on which stage the victim in question provided cooperation to law enforcement, because the U visa is not only premised on having been the victim of a crime, it's about having collaborated and supported law enforcement in prosecuting and investigating and or prosecuting the individuals in question. After that certification is received, we are then able to provide it together with a U visa application to USCIS. Unfortunately, the wait times for those U visas are quite long, but an individual can receive what is called a bona fide determination of U visa status if their case appears on its face to be valid. And that can then allow someone to have the privilege, for example, of a work permit. So it really is a way for them to be able to come out of the shadows and be protected from enforcement action against them after having been victimized. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
In addition, we know that applying for a U visa can be very scary and has a lot of legal wording that we may not understand. At the Family Justice Center, if you are a victim of domestic violence, you can come to the Family Justice Center. We will help you with all sorts of services, counseling, legal representation. In addition, we have the Special Victims Unit on our floor where they can meet with a detective, and we can set them up with an appointment, a free appointment with Catholic Charities, our partner, who will go through step by step how to apply for the U visa, making sure they're qualified to make the process as easy as possible. Victims of crime are dealing with a lot of trauma, ongoing trauma, years of trauma. And so taking away any steps or any barriers is our goal. And so at the Family Justice Center, again, domestic violence victims can meet with free attorneys with Catholic Charities to help start that process, to make it a little bit easier.
Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Again, I want to thank our police department, our sheriff's office, all our providers, and all our advocates for making sure that Montgomery County remains a safe and welcoming place for everyone. Have yourselves a good afternoon. Thank you.